Welcome to A Balanced Life with Dr. Jacquie, and it's official. The holiday season is upon us. Let me just tell you, the holiday stress, the holiday shopping, the holiday waiting in line. And yet there's something about the joy of getting up in the wee hours of the morning to wait in line for that special toy, that special gift, and of course, the special sale. Today, we are going to be joined by Dr. Tierney, Charlotte Avery, Stacey Owens, and our very own wealth coach, Deborah Owens. Welcome in, ladies.
Hey, Dr. Jacquie.
Hey, it's the holidays. Y'all ready?
It's the season.
I have to tell you, when I think about this time of year and the decorating, the spending the money, the waiting in the lines, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but there's something joyous and fun about getting all dressed up and putting on your winter clothes and going outside. So to top us off, I do have a question for each of you. Have you ever stood in line at whatever hour for something? And what was that something that you were waiting in line for? I'll start with Charlotte Avery.
So yes, one year, and it was the year that the Wii had just come out. And I wanted to get one for my husband, and I stood in line for hours to get that Wii. And let me tell you, I was a good wife that year because I was good and pregnant too, but I stood in that line to get that Wii for him.
Wow, the Wii. I remember that game. It was so much fun, and Wii has just evolved so much, and it's one that people still go out and, enjoy. Stacey.
Yes, I have. When my kids were younger, I stood in line for one of the Xbox series. I can't remember which number, but I stood in this line all day, 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting for this Xbox for my son. Yes.
Did you get your Xbox?
I did. It was interesting too. And, a lot going on, people taking stuff out of each other's carts and so forth, but I made it through with my Xbox.
That's outstanding. What about you, Dr. Tierney?
Same. Well, I've actually done it twice. The first time was just like Charlotte for that Wii, and it was for me. I wanted that Wii, and I still have that Wii. And I still play that Wii as I'm saying this. So yeah, it was for the Wii. I was in line at Toys R Us. The second time, it was for some diamond earrings that I can't remember which store was having a ridiculous sale that I went and stood in line to get me some diamond stud earrings.
Stacey has told us all about her. Charlotte has shared with us. Dr. Tierney has shared with us. And I wonder if the frugal Miss Deborah Owens does the same. Hey, Deborah.
Well, you're giving me PTSD, though, girl. Christmas PTSD. Well, the truth is, every time I've stood in line, it has been for my kids, right? So it was Game Boy. It was Xbox. Let me think of every Bratz doll for my kids, for my daughter, Barbie. So invariably, probably for about, 5 or 6 years, I was in line getting that favorite whatever, wanting to be, the super mom. And, I would say no shame, right? It wasn't like it was a significant expense. But I just find that whenever it has to do something with family or kids, that's what really motivated me.
That's very interesting because we do so much for our family. We do so much for our kids, and we're willing to take on that holiday stress. Dr. Tierney, talk about that for a moment, because how do we deal with the waiting in line? We know it's going to come. And, Stacey already said about people taking things out of our basket, and that's a whole nother level that we're going to talk about. But how do we deal with the holiday stress, knowing that it's approaching, and some of us are pros now at getting out there and doing the holiday gift giving? How do we approach it and mitigate some of that stress?
Absolutely. So 2 things just out of the gate: set boundaries and set a budget. Okay. And I know I probably write down Deborah Street with that. I know you're going to take that and run with it, ma'am. But when we have set our boundaries to say, okay, here's what I am willing to do, here's what I'm not going to do. I know that I'm not going to be my best going to a store at 3 o'clock in the morning for anybody's doll or anything. Once we have that set, then we can start planning ahead. we can start finding it online, finding other ways that we can maybe get the items that we really want for our loved ones without us having to put ourselves through all of those stressful moments. And also setting a budget, that's out of the gate. I am not the financial guru, but I am a frugal fashionista. So I like to make sure I have my budget set for how much I want to spend, how much I'm able, to spend, so that when the holidays are over, I'm not sitting here pinching pennies and trying to figure out how I'm gonna make these ramen noodles stretch for a week. And so when we have those budgets and those boundaries in place, it can help mitigate a lot of stress, for us, because we're not adding on financial stress, or we're not putting ourselves in overly stressful situations that we might not have to.
That's very interesting. Charlotte, do you shop with your kids? Do you literally take them with you when you go shopping? And does that add to the stress and anxiety? Talk to us about that, because I know families who take their kids shopping. I've been in line when they're there and I'm like, let me just exhale for a moment. Charlotte Avery.
Listen here. I do not take these people with me to go shopping. I get the list, and while they're at school or doing something else or on the weekend, I go and shop by myself. I do my best not to do a whole lot of online shopping, but I'm going to tell you, I don't take them with me because it'll just hold up the process. And I am an in and out person. I mean, I am focused. Like, I know what I'm going to get. I know who I'm going to get it for. And that's that. I do not take them with me.
So how does that help our viewers who, kids get to that certain age, Charlotte, where they don't like what you get for them? So this doesn't happen with the 7 little Averys, but for those whose kids don't appreciate the gift that they've received, or it's not what they wanted. And I say that because there's a certain age where you should literally stop buying for your kid and just kind of let them do it on their own. How do you manage that?
Well, I'm at that stage now, especially with my bigs. So I told them, this year they gave their list, and I told them, I was like, okay, we're going to get maybe 1 or 2 things off your list. And then we're giving you money and gift cards to the stores that you like. And you guys are going to shop for yourselves. I'm like, you can shop for yourself before the holidays, or, if you want to, budget and decide that you want to wait for all the after Christmas holiday sales and stuff like that, you can do that too. But I'm only getting the bigs, like 2 things off their list, and I'm giving them money so they can shop for themselves, because I do have some kids who are like, I don't know why you got this for me. So happy to not shop for them. I like shopping for the littles and the middles.
So final question for Charlotte, because my mind is racing when I see parents going through this tug of war with these kids in these aisles. Do you approve how they spend the money you gave them? Can they buy what they want, or do you have to have a final say in the purchase?
Well, they can listen. They're not getting like $1.5 million to shop with. So I'm limited. So yeah, I mean, I will approve it. But if they do bring something home that me and their dad don't like, then definitely we'll talk about it. And if we don't approve it, we'll be like, okay, it's got to go back. But you know what? We've never really had that problem. Maybe except with one of our daughters, but that's it. We've never had to say, oh, you can't have that, take it back.
I like the way this is going, because it reminds me of the value and importance of parents staying engaged in that process. And Stacey, where you are and what you do, you have your own children and you also have your kids at school. How do you prepare them to either receive gifts or get gifts? Because your school gives a lot to the community. What do you do in that space around the holidays?
Just help kids realize how to maintain their emotions in this state of being balanced, because you do have some kids who Christmas is just another day for them. They're not going to get any gifts. Their parents may tell them that they'll get their stuff after Christmas, because often they're waiting for income tax time or for times, to get their money together. And so we just help the kids to understand that whatever your situation is, what is the true meaning behind Christmas? What are some other ways that you can look at the holidays in terms of being able to give and not just receive. But then in terms of the school, we do a lot. So like even today, after I get off the show, we're giving out some turkeys and things like that to the families. And we have the angel wish list where people can come and give toys and items for students. So it's just about helping kids to be realistic in their situation. You know, don't set your expectations super, super high. Have some grace for your parents, you know, and just don't create situations where if things don't go the way that you were expecting them to go, that your life falls about or apart. There's another day after Christmas.
Definitely, there is another day after Christmas. Trying to figure out the sanity of it all and not going overboard in the things that you do often comes with learning how to manage your money and set the tone in the household related to budget. When we come back after the break, we're going to talk to Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, about how do you take the stress out of budgeting and shopping during the holidays, when we're back after the break.
November 8th. We can vote today, y'all. Early vote started this week.
We're on Savannah State University's campus. We will be dorm storming today, giving out treats for everyone. We hope to see everyone at the polls when it comes to November.
If you believe we got power, let them know. Make some noise. Put a fist up. I need to see a fist in the air because we got power. Come on, you put it up. Come get your shirt. We're out here in the streets of Savannah, Georgia. James, do not forget to go vote. I got you. If we vote the right people in, we can make a change. We can get these resources in our community.
I am a woman, and it is important that we have the say-so of what we want to do with our bodies.
We're concentrating on entrepreneurism, providing young people with resources and training that they need in order to change their trajectories. We want Black down.
Democracy is on the ballot. Voting rights is on the ballot. Voting suppression is on the ballot. I am most passionate about those three combined because they all impact each other.
Savannah is my home. I care about my community, and I care about representation in my community.
Our voices are still going to be heard no matter what kind of obstacles try to come up against us to stop us from voting. We're still going to be standing our ground.
I see the effort that's being made to keep our communities from voting. So that makes me realize it's even more important, because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be fighting to make sure we could vote.
This doesn't stop this year. This is a forever movement.
We're going to exert our power as a people, walk in our rightful place. We're going to change our communities, fight for our communities, and build our communities.
Welcome back, everyone. As you can tell, there are certain ways that you can take stress out of the holidays, allowing yourself to plan, prepare, and have good open communication about the expectations. So, Deborah, when we think about getting ready to spend money, whether it's on Black Friday, at this point, we spent money on Black Friday. We were involved in the Saturday sales, and then Cyber Monday hit us. And those are three really big times that people are spending their money and their resources. Talk to us how to plan and be ready so that when 2023 hits, we are not in debt for the holidays.
Well, I just want to piggyback on Stacy. I think it's really important for kids to understand what the household budget is about, and then to set boundaries, particularly with social media now. I was having a conversation with my chadults, or my adult children, just talking about social media and how they're so glad they weren't coming up with social media, because so much is that you're seeing so much, half of it's not real, right? And so the expectations for children are just so much greater. And what I believe in families is that you need to have a real conversation about money, household budget, and as one of the other guests said, is you need a budget. I like to call it a spending plan, and figure out based on the budget, have a conversation about what you can afford, and then give your children whatever the decision is made. And you could do it either way. I asked my kids what they wanted, right? Because I didn't want to be taking things back, and half the time you take it back, they won't give you your money back. So set realistic expectations based on your household budget, have a conversation with the kids, come up with the number, and then everybody can, the point is be transparent.
So when we talk about holidays, we typically are talking about children because they do play a very big part, but some of us are big kids and we like big purchases. So when adults are trying to shop for themselves or their loved ones, there are items like trips, cars, wardrobes, that handbag that they've been waiting for. What is the investment in those type things, and how do we prepare for those big ticket items that grown people like to have when they're celebrating the holidays?
So I would say, go old school as a family, so you don't find yourself after the holidays where you busted the budget. I think that one of the things that we do in our community, Wealthy You, is it all starts with, for every one of your goals or what you want to possess, you need to have an account for each one of those goals. And I'd say that Christmas spending is one of them. Do you remember, Jackie, when you had like the Christmas savings account, the vacation savings account was how our parents did it? That's a great way of making sure that you're allocating those dollars around the way. And then you have a certain expectation, and that you're not busting the budget or putting yourself in financial jeopardy.
That jeopardy sometimes is almost like playing Russian roulette, because in this economy, in the times that we're in right now, we often don't know where money is going to come from. Prices are getting higher. We saw gas go up. And so now, just going to the grocery store, trying to feed your family during the holidays. And, if you have guests, it also gets into that budget. When people who come from big families, this question is for Charlotte and Dr. Tierney, when people come from large families and they're trying to figure out how to take care of everybody's needs, I want to ask Dr. Tierney this question, because sometimes when we're coaching people, they don't understand why they need to step back and cut back. How do you help people establish those levels of boundaries to stay balanced during the holidays? Because I do find that people are more stressed going into the new year because of the decisions they made at the close of the last year.
Correct. And I love what you said earlier about investment. Helping my clients to look at everything, their money, their time, their energy as an investment. We make investments every single day. We may not view it as an investment, but it's an investment. And the question that I ask my clients is, if you make an investment in this, if you buy that toy, if what is the investment? What is it netting you? Is it doing something to improve your future, or is it a temporary fix where you'll get a rush? And it's not just for the kids, like you said, it's us grown folk, buying big toys like cars and all of those other things. But it really comes down to that investment. How is that investment improving your life going forward? And often what we do is we'll make all these different investments, energy investments, time investments, and then we walk into the new year feeling more broken, more sick and tired, and so this is actually the reason why I never run a sale on my coaching except for this time of year. Right here, from now until December the 31st, I actually give new clients $120 off their new coaching program so that they can make an investment in something that will improve their life going forward. So while we're making these different plans and making our list, we need to look at it from the standpoint of investment. Would it be a better investment if I scale back on buying all the things, all of the material things, and maybe invest in something like a coaching program, like a session with a therapist or something that will improve my life going forward, so that I'm not starting 2023 trying to finish what I didn't finish in 2022 that I said I was going to do. And that's the thing that I try to help my clients to click into.
Absolutely. Now, Charlotte, as a mom strategist, a lot of people don't know, but Charlotte Avery during the pandemic was voted Virginia Mother of the Year. And I think that that's huge because as a mom strategist, Charlotte, in the work that you do, you talk to moms around the globe and you try to help them establish boundaries and ways to save and ways to plan so that they are doing, the good work, if you will, in the home. Can you share with us some tips that you often offer to moms, and families, because you work with parents as a whole as well, to get prepared for the holidays and manage their expectations with their kids as well as their emotions?
Yes. So that's a really great question. And my answer revolves around a few words that begin with P. One is participation. Everybody should participate because, the holidays. Now, I love Christmas. Like, I bleed Christmas. I love this time of year. But it's not just about me and it's not about what I want. It's about our family as a whole. So I want everybody to make sure that everybody in their family is participating and that everybody feels included. The other P is plan. Who's doing what? If you're going somewhere, where are you going? What are you going to do for the holidays? When are you going to start cooking and doing all the things? And how are you going to do it? All of that matters. And then the other thing is have patience, because I know that as a mom, especially because the kids are out of school, if you have school age children, and even if you have children who are coming home from college, it's really being able to have patience with each other and other grace, because this time of year it can be very emotional. It can be all of those things. So just giving yourself grace and being patient with the people around you. Because the other thing too is during this time of year when kids are just so like wanting to do things, and you have to remember, for me, I have to remember that, our kids are out of school and everything's not going to be spick and span. My main thing is, making memories with my family. That's really what the holidays is to me. It's really about making memories. And then don't do anything in the holiday season that's not going to bring you peace. I'm all about this word right here, finding the joy, right? And if it's not going to bring you peace, if it's not going to bring you joy, then just decide not to do it. Sometimes that means not going to see your in-laws. Sometimes it means not having everybody over, and sometimes it means you not hosting Christmas at your house, because some people don't find joy and that doesn't bring them peace. And then the other thing is prioritize. Prioritize making memories, prioritize quality versus quantity, prioritize your mental health and all of those different things. Prioritize your self-care, because as we know, emotions run high. There are some people who may have lost a loved one or something like that. You need to be able to prioritize even yourself while you're prioritizing.
Prioritization is a very big component to everything that we do. Stacey, you do something amazing. And I know we've talked about this before on our show, but educators don't often always get the time off that they need, the break that they need. And as Charlotte said, the peace that they need. How do you recommend? Now, you go around coaching educators and administrators and helping them find the peace that they need in the work that they do. What are some of the ways that parents and families can help support our educators by giving them the things that they need during the holidays?
I think if I was to walk out and ask my teachers, what do you need during the holiday? The first thing they'll say is just time to just do nothing, where they don't have to think about the classroom, they don't have to think about planning, they don't have to think about anything but taking those 2 weeks that they get off to recharge and re-energize themselves. And that's something you have to give to yourself. Actually, you have to allow yourself that time to just stop and say, at this moment, I'm going to take the break and not feel guilty about it. In terms of, what families can give to educators, during this time, like Charlotte just said, you have to acknowledge people's feelings. We don't know what everyone is dealing with. We don't know if this is a time where it can cause people grief. I tell my teachers all the time that November and December is usually the highest months for teacher burnout. It's wrapped around this spending of money, trying to make our personal families happy. This, just being in our emotions because you might be dealing with some type of grief. So have that grace as parents, give. If you haven't given anything to your teachers all year, this is a great time just to give that Starbucks card or any kind of $5 gift card that they can take and enjoy. Just to say, I appreciate you. A lot of times people just want to know that you appreciate the service that they provide. So it doesn't have to be nothing big. It can be a simple thank you. Enjoy your break.
I like that. When we come back after the break, I do want to talk about the grace of giving, because a lot of people need grace, and we'll unpack that when we come back after the break.
November 8th. We can vote today, y'all. Early vote started this week.
We're on Savannah State University's campus. We'll be dorm storming today, giving out treats for everyone. We hope to see everyone at the polls when it comes to November.
If you believe we got power, let them know. Make some noise. Put a fist up. I need to see a fist in the air because we got power. Come on, you put it up. Come get your shirt. We're out here in the streets of Savannah, Georgia. James, do not forget to go vote. I got you. If we vote the right people in, we can make a change. We can get these resources in our community.
I am a woman, and it is important that we have the say-so of what we want to do with our bodies.
We're concentrating on entrepreneurism, providing young people with resources and training that they need in order to change their trajectories. We want Black down.
Democracy is on the ballot. Voting rights is on the ballot. Voting suppression is on the ballot. I am most passionate about those three combined because they all impact each other.
Savannah is my home. I care about my community, and I care about representation in my community.
Our voices are still going to be heard no matter what kind of obstacles try to come up against us to stop us from voting. We're still going to be standing our ground.
I see the effort that's being made to keep our communities from voting. So that makes me realize it's even more important, because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be fighting to make sure we couldn't vote.
This doesn't stop this year. This is a forever movement.
We're going to exert our power as a people, walk in our rightful place. We're going to change our communities, fight for our communities, and build our communities.
Welcome back, everyone, to A Balanced Life. And you've heard a lot of tips and tools that are going to help you maintain your peace during the holidays. But there is, when I think about where we are now as a country and all that we have been through, this pandemic, the number of lives that have been lost, and all of the things that are going on in our society, having that seat at the table where there may be a few extra seats, because we all know people who have lost a loved one, and we are now bringing other people into our household. And sometimes that requires both grace and patience without feeling guilty. And I want to start this conversation with Dr. Tierney, because oftentimes our children and our other family members get in our feelings when we show more care and love and respect for outsiders. Dr. Tierney, let's talk about that for a moment in this block, because we do go through those stages of people getting in their feelings. And how do we help people not feel overly emotional about the decisions that we make when we extend grace to others?
Well, okay, we're going to talk about it. So this is where we get into the boundary conversation. And you've probably heard me say before the difference between boundaries and barriers. Boundaries are about you. Barriers are about them. You're reacting to them. And so when we're talking about the emotions of this time of year, the number one thing to remember is that the only emotions that you can control are your own. You can't manage anyone else's emotions. You can't control anybody else's emotions. So if mama is upset that you're bringing your friend to dinner, or that you have a close, like your friends are more like your family, you can't change mama's mind. You can't do anything about how mama feels. The only thing you can do is set your boundaries for what it is that you need to do in order for you to enjoy this holiday season with the people that you love. That's the number one thing. The second thing is that this might be the time for you to start having some honest and open conversations, about what the family dynamic has been. Too often we will tiptoe around that uncle, or we'll just be like, that's auntie so-and-so, where we might need to start having some conversations, around that. And if you don't feel comfortable, this is a perfect time to call your coach to say, hey, can you sit in this conversation with my mom and I to kind of be a mediator, so that we can both be heard, so that I can express what I need to express, and so that I can hear what it is that she needs to say to me, so that we can have a loving, positive holiday season, this season. So those are just two of the things that I say just out of the gate when we're talking about kind of the emotions, of the season. And like we've already stated, give grace, an extra dose of grace, because this is a tough time for a lot of people.
Absolutely. Deborah Owens, talk to us about that, because our budgets often get stretched when our hearts are big, and we want to make certain that everyone has what they need or what they would like during the holidays.
Well, what I would say is that setting boundaries with people is important. And particularly with our families, oftentimes we feel obligated. And the result of that is we overextend ourselves. And what I would like to share with folks is, when you overextend yourself and give from a half empty cup, what you don't realize is that you're not helping people, you're enabling them. And on the other hand, you're putting your own self in financial jeopardy. So I want to, I think the advice that was given around those barriers and boundaries and having real conversations, sometimes you just simply have to tell family that I cannot afford it, right? I do think that there are times when this is the time when people's expectations can be greater. In some cases, you may be the person in the family that's sort of like the family ATM, and they feel like you're doing well and are judging what you're capable of giving based on what they see you experiencing yourself. But it's absolutely fine to have those frank conversations about and to say no nicely and simply say, hey, I know that you may feel this is something that I can do, but I'm already committed. That way, you're honoring yourself and you're honoring them in terms of setting an expectation.
So, Deborah, that brings up the other G. How do you deal with the guilt of saying no? Because some people just, I'm a good person at saying no. I respect that it's a complete sentence, and I will wear that 2-letter word out as often as I possibly can. And I have had to train myself not to feel guilty, because people have been accustomed to my availability. Or any of you who are watching, people are out there accustomed to your availability and having access to who you are and what you have. So how do you manage the guilt of that, Deborah?
I think that you manage it when you know that saying no to others is saying yes to yourself. But what's important in that, and so many of us are coaches, is that in order for you to say no without guilt, you have to already have made your commitments to your future. So when you already have a plan, so that when someone says to you, oh, well, can you do this or can you do that? Because you're already committed, because you've created your wealthy vision, you know what it is you're able to accomplish, that you want to accomplish, then you can say no without guilt. But this is what I'll say about many women, is that we haven't committed to ourselves. We haven't created a future vision for ourselves. So in that, what happens is, because we don't have our own plan, we become a part of somebody else's plan. And so really being able to say no without guilt really requires you to not only set boundaries, but have plans around your future that you can simply convey to others what your plans are. And if it's not a part of the plan, it's really easier to say no.
Mm-hmm. Charlotte Avery, talk to us about that for a moment, because in your coaching of parents and moms, that wearing your heart on your sleeve, your kids have a tendency, not your kids personally, but kids in general have a tendency to play on those emotions and sometimes pit parents against each other and then make you feel guilty. Oh, you're a bad mom. You don't love me, blah, 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 blah. How do we verbalize to our children, the reality of life?
I think the best way to relay the reality of life to your children is really to tell them the truth. In our household, we're not a family with 2 children, right? We have 7 children. And so there are a couple of things that we do. One, we tell our children Christmas is about Jesus. It's not about you, because your birthday is about you. Now, you're still going to get a couple gifts here and there, but we try to keep things in perspective, right? But I also think, and one thing that my mom did with me and my brother, because she was a single mom, is my mom would tell us, you know what, this is our reality. This is what we can afford for right now. It doesn't mean that we can't afford this later, but what it does mean is that we can't afford it right now. And we're not going to go into debt, getting things or doing things that are going to cause us to be in a financially bad place later. So I think sometimes, we don't want to have, I don't believe in mommy guilt. I got rid of that after baby number 3, right? But I just believe that when you commit to being honest and telling your children the truth, and you don't have to tell them everything, but I think that when you make them a part of the plan, you help them be the truth of their reality, in the reality of your family, I think it helps them to be more empathetic, even about those who are living in your household. Because, we have a child that just went to college. We have one that's getting ready to go. Some of our children are putting cars and stuff like that on their list. And I'm like, well, you can shovel one foot and the other, because we can't afford to get you a car right now because you have another person coming, behind you to go to school. It doesn't mean that we don't love you. It just means that we're not getting you a car right now. And so I think that's also, when we're talking about needs versus wants, I mentioned this before, how in our household, when our children make Christmas lists or birthday lists, they have to get a piece of paper and divide it in 4 pieces that say want, need, read, seed. And that's the other thing, is really helping them to see the things that they need versus the things that they want. And it's also teaching them about prioritizing and things that will last forever versus things that are just going to be temporal. And so I just think that we do our children a disservice when we make them think oh, they're going to get everything and everything is so widely available and all of that. I just think that we do. And so I think that we owe it to our children, and we owe it to ourselves to be honest with ourselves while also being honest with them.
Absolutely. You made a great point about being able to seed to other people. And I want to ask Stacey this question before we go into the break. Stacey, you mentioned about the angel giving, or being able to pick an angel off of the tree. Can you share with our audience what angel tree giving is and how that works within your school?
Yes. So we have a lot of organizations who will say like, well, what can we do? Can we donate school supplies? Can we donate, paper, pencils, and so forth? And I always tell people with the population that I serve, we're beyond the paper, pencil, crayon type thing. So we have our students to create a list of items that they may need: coats, hats, shoes, clothes, of that nature. And then now if an organization or someone wants to contact us and say, how can we help you? Then now we can pull this angel from our tree, or we can pull this student and say, adopt a student. Here's the things that this student needs. And that way it helps the family in the largest scope. If it's toys that they may need, if it's clothes that they may need, uniforms, whatever. Now we have a specific thing that's based around the needs and some of the wants, because the student can put an item up there that they may want as well. And it just gives a resource so that when people are reaching out to say, how can we help? Here's how you can help.
Absolutely. I thank you for sharing that, because oftentimes we forget the value of being able to sow a seed into another person's life. And a child is absolutely grateful when their angel is no longer on the tree, and then they know that someone is going to provide something for them. When we come back after the break, we're going to talk about holiday decorating. And is there such a thing as too much? When we're back after the break.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to A Balanced Life. And as you can tell, learning how to get through the holidays are tips that we can all use, regardless if it's our first holiday or our 50th holiday. We go through the emotions, the stress, the budgets, the balancing, the borders and the boundaries of knowing what our capacity is. But I tell you, when it comes to the decorating, I have seen some of the most beautiful with elaborate decorations, and I have seen people who are minimalist and just like the simple things of the holidays. So ladies, let's talk about that for a moment. How do you decorate? And I'm going to start with Charlotte Avery and the 7 little Avery angels. How do you decorate for the holidays and get into that Christmas spirit?
So Christmas is a slow dance in our house. I mean, I start decorating for Christmas early. Because usually it's me decorating because everybody's at school, but like my littles, they love when the weekend comes so that they can help me do things. But I mean, as you can tell, all around, they're Christmas decorations. But I mean, I decorate our TV room, our living room. We have several Christmas trees. We have several birch trees that just light up. I just love the lights of Christmas. Our kitchen is decorated. My bedroom, our bedrooms are decorated. It's just so many things just to, let them just kind of have the fun and joy of Christmas. I decorate the outside of the house and they help me with that. And so I decorate our bathrooms. There's usually not a part of our house that goes untouched. So I do a lot of decorating.
I think that that's exciting. And it also builds memories with you and your kids and helps them create these holiday traditions. Dr. Tierney.
Okay, so The first part of the answer is what's too much, whatever floats your boat, sugar. That's what you do. If you want to bank everything in ribbons and lights, then you go for it. If you just want to get a little Charlie Brown Christmas tree and put one ornament on it, then that is perfect too. I don't think there's a right or wrong in terms of the decorations. Now, I find myself somewhere kind of in between. My mom had this whole thing of decorating every inch of our house, and who had to be responsible for taking it all down. So I was just like, I don't want to do this. When I get my own house, I'm never putting up anything. I was like, But so I find myself somewhere in the middle where I do have multiple trees. As you can see, I have Christmas going on here in my office. But I bank my staircase, my foyer area, and bows and lights and garland. And I do decorate outside with some lights. And I do actually go to a Christmas tree farm. I cut down a live Christmas tree, bring it home, do the whole thing, then have to clean up all of the pine needles afterwards and do all of that and decorate, put little touches here and there. But it's enough to where when I start thinking about, oh my God, I have to take all of this down, that's when I stop. That's my, okay, that's enough, because I have to take all of this down. So I find myself somewhere in the middle.
Absolutely. Stacey Owens.
Well, Dr. Tierney, I'm so glad you gave a pass, because what I'm about to say, I don't want it to sound like a Scrooge. But I would say when my children were young, I did the whole decorating the entire house like Charlotte discussed, and the outside and so forth. But, now my two kids are grown. And so as the family grow and change, I feel like sometimes your traditions and your rituals may change. So at this stage of my life, I'm like, well, can we do something different? Like, I'm going to travel, or I'm going to not even be here for Christmas. Now, my kids, they're not feeling that. So my son, even though he's about 30 and my daughter's about 28, 29, they're like, no, Mom, you still have to decorate. You still have to do this. You still have to do that. And so I'm like, I don't want to. I want, like, you guys decorate your house and let me come visit as I'm traveling through for the holidays.
Yes.
But I'll say now I do have 2 grandkids. And so maybe I'll pull some stuff out of the storage and try to do something this year. So for them. But no, I just think we should just, whatever level that you want to put into it, but don't feel bad or guilty when you get to the level that I'm at, where I don't want to do none of this. My house don't have the Christmas feel with it, because I don't even want to be there during the holidays.
There we go.
I can definitely identify with that. Deborah Owens.
Well, I tell you, Stacey, and we must really be related, because we've got the same last names. But the truth is, we're at a similar stage, right? My kids are adult. I don't have grandchildren. And so, just in terms of decorating, I used to go all out, and I would have a theme. And so, this, was always about the color of the theme. What is it going to be? Pastels, that sort of thing. And my husband and I downsized. We like to travel, and our daughter's not even coming home for this Christmas. So I'm like minimalist. As you can see, I haven't decorated anything here yet. I do have, my son is coming for Christmas with his friends, so I will decorate somewhat, but I'm at the stage now, once maybe I get some grandkids, then I can go all out again, because I really feel like Christmas is for children. I love when they would be, wouldn't want to go to bed. I love when they would wake up early and tear up all the gifts. But yeah, that's sort of the stage I'm at right now. So I'm right there with Stacey.
I can identify with everything that you've all said, and I've probably done all of those stages. I want to bring everybody back in. And of course, because it's the holiday season, I want to focus on a single word and ask you this question. So the word is embrace. And as people go into the holidays, what would you like for them to embrace and why? I will start with Charlotte Avery.
Embrace being intentional, embrace making memories. Because one thing that we're not going to get back is time. Time, we've learned over these past few years, if we haven't learned anything, we have learned what we should have learned what it means to be intentional and to just love on the people who God has blessed us to still be with, And so my thing is embrace intentionality of making memories and doing the things that matter.
Absolutely. Deborah.
I would say what I want people to embrace is being present. If I've learned anything over these past few years, just about changes and the fact that we're not in control, being present and being grateful. I will tell you, I lost both of my parents in the past 2 years. And, and just thinking about that, that's another aspect of holidays that we touched on. And to Ms. Avery's point, the fact is that we really need to not only embrace the fact that we're living, that we're whole, that we have the people around us, and that we want to be present in the people whose lives we value every day.
Absolutely. Stacey Owens.
I'm going to say embrace love and start by loving yourself. Acknowledge your feelings all through this holiday season. Don't go laboring in your emotions. Acknowledge them, push through it, talk about it. Find a way to love someone else. If you can give, if you have enough to give, share, find someone who can benefit from your giving. And then hold on to that love so that if your family is a large family and you're coming together and there's people there that you haven't spoken to in years and don't even care to speak to, love yourself enough not to let that stress you until you get beyond the holiday season. So just embrace love and have fun.
Absolutely. Dr. Tierney.
Embrace finishing strong. Oftentimes you hear people say, new year, new me, but sometimes we're waiting on the new year just to give the old you new excuses. So remember, you want me to say that one more time?
Yes.
New year just to give the old you new excuses. So remember what we do right now in 2022 will impact how you start your 2023. So if you need to set a budget, if you need to set boundaries, if you need to start with your coach right now, don't wait for the new year for the new you. Your new you is right now. Okay, so start now, finish strong. Don't just throw in the towel, right now. We still have a whole month and some change left. We have some time left for you to be able to finish strong. And remember, shameless plug, you want to start coaching, you get $120 off. Go to my website.
I think that everything that you all have stated puts us in the mindset of space of saying that it's okay to kind of relax and release and then find a pathway to be able to move forward. When we're back, I'll give my reflections.
Don't wait till November 8th. We can vote today, y'all. Early vote started this week.
We're on Savannah State University's campus. We'll be dorm storming today, giving out treats for everyone. We hope to see everyone at the polls when it comes to November.
If you believe we got power, let them know. Make some noise. Put a fist up. I need to see a fist in the air because we got power. Come on, you put it up. Come get your shirt. We're out here in the streets of Savannah, Georgia. James, do not forget to go vote. I got you. If we vote the right people in, we can make a change. We can get these resources in our community.
I am a woman, and it is important that we have the say-so of what we want to do with our bodies.
We're concentrating on entrepreneurism, providing young people with resources and training that they need in order to change their trajectories. We want Black down.
Democracy is on the ballot. Voting rights is on the ballot. Voting suppression is on the ballot. I am most passionate about those three combined because they all impact each other.
Savannah is my home. I care about my community, and I care about representation in my community.
Our voices are still going to be heard no matter what kind of obstacles try to come up against us to stop us from voting. We're still going to be standing our ground.
I see the effort that's being made to keep our communities from voting. So that makes me realize it's even more important, because if it wasn't important, they wouldn't be fighting to make sure we could vote.
This doesn't stop this year. This is a forever movement.
We're going to exert our power as a people, walk in our rightful place. We're going to change our communities, fight for our communities, and build our communities.
Welcome back, everyone, to A Balanced Life. And as you can tell, there are so many ways to find ourselves engaged during the holidays. And literally, this is just the beginning of the season. As we move throughout the month of December, allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to have grace, and give yourself space to just be you. As we have seen throughout the pandemic season, and as we're slowly emerging from it, we are uncovering new things about ourselves that we love. And there's some things about ourselves that we need to tweak. But however it happens, be honest with yourself, be open with yourself, and love yourself. Thank you, everyone, for watching our show today, and cheers to the holidays. Bye now.